In today's sewing project, I will show you how to make a simple DIY dress. It's so easy even for a beginner. Best of all, no pattern is needed. Now let's get started. First of all, I am going to deconstruct the shirt. I'm going to cut off the sleeves and open the side seams and the shoulder seams. I'm going to use as much fabric as I could because I want this sewing project zero waste. The men's shirt that I am using is size large and the material is cotton poplin, which is a dream to work with. This is the back piece of the dress. So from the top edge, I will measure 1.5 inches. And from that mark, I am going to measure down 24 inches and that is going to be the length of the dress. So from the fold, I'm going to measure in 5 inches and that is going to be the shoulder. So from the neckline, I'm going to measure down 2 inches and I'm going to draw a straight line across. I'm going to mark 9 inches and a half. Then I am going to connect it to the shoulder. As you can see, it's already forming. You can see here the side seam is a little shorter than the fold because I don't have enough fabric. I'm just going to adjust it later on when I completed the dress. So I'm just going to connect these two markings together and then I am going to adjust the side seam hemline by about 1/2 inch. It's time to cut the piece out and I am just going to follow the outside line from now on. I did not added any seam allowances along the neckline and the arm side because I am going to finish the dress using a bias tape. Now it's time to work on the front of the dress. So I'm just going to cut off the shoulder and I will remove the pocket as well because I will be reusing it later on because this shirt has a company logo and I want to cover that up using the pocket. After that, I folded the front piece and I am going to use the back piece as my template for the front piece. Using the sleeve, I am going to create a bias tape. So this is how you figure out the bias tape. When you stretch the fabric like this, it's stretched on an angle. So I think that is about 45-degree angle. I'm going to make as much bias tape as I can from this piece of fabric and I need 2 inches wide bias strips. So I'm going to work with this later on, but basically you are going to fold it in half and then fold the edges towards the center and press it. So now I am going to top stitch the pocket to cover the company logo. I don't really want to seam rip that because that is embroidered and this is like a clever way to hide it. You can also use like some sort of patching if you like. Now it's time to press the bias tape. So like I said earlier, I fold it in half and then press it and then fold the edges toward the center crease and press it one more time and just fold it like this to encase the raw edges inside. It's time to finish the neckline of the dress. So I open up the bias tape, I match the right sides of the fabrics together and I'm just going to pin along the edge. And take note, I did not add any seam allowance on the neckline because I will be using a bias tape. Basically, I am going to wrap the neckline using a bias tape and then I'm going to sew along the crease and that is 1/2 inch away from the raw edge. And take note, do not stretch the neckline of the dress, just the bias tape. You kind of ease it in, okay? And then you are sewing along the curve, so take your time. Now it's time to grade the neckline, so I'm going to create some small cuts to release the tension along the neckline, especially along the curve. So this is about 1 inch or so apart, or 1/2 inch. And I'm going to fold in the edge of the bias tape, and I'm going to clip it in place and be sure that it is covering the first stitching. The bias tape edge on the other side should be slightly longer than the front. To test that out, pin along the seam. If you see that, that means when you sew on the right side of the fabric, you are going to catch the fabric at the back. It is so gorgeous and I'm very pleased about this. Then I trim off the excess bias tape. Then I am going to finish the arm side exactly like I did on the neckline, so I will have to do that 4 times. I will trim off the excess bias tape on the side seams, but not the shoulder seams because I will be using those later on. Now it's time to match the right sides of the dress panels. I will be doing a base stitching along the side seams first so my daughter can try it on, and if I have to adjust the side seams or the fit, it's going to be a lot easier. Now it's time to create some shoulder straps. This was the shoulder yoke and the fabric is doubled. And I need the straps to be 2 inches wide. So just like the bias tape earlier, I am going to fold it at the center and then fold the edges towards the center fold. Also press it so it is so much easier to work with. And now I am going to attach it on the shoulders. I'm just clipping it on the shoulder, and I made sure that the bias tape is hidden or the raw edge are hidden. And before I sew it permanently, I let my daughter try it on just to make sure that it is the right length. And once we are satisfied, I sew where I placed the clips. After my daughter tried it on, she requested that I should put a belt so it can cinch in the back because the dress was a little flowy for her liking, so I gladly obliged. So the self-tie belts are going to be about 1.5 inches wide. So I press it and turn it correct side out. It's time to insert it in the dress. After that, I am going to trim off the excess fabric on the side seams, and I cut off about 1/2 inch. After that, I am going to open the side seam so I can insert the belt, and that is about 4 inches, measuring down from the arm side. That's why it is important to base stitch it first because it's going to be a lot easier to seam rip just in case if you need to adjust the fit. So now I am going to permanently sew the side seams, and I backstitch a couple of times along the belt area so it is nice and secure and durable. My daughter didn't want a slit on the front, so I sewed that closed. I trim off the excess fabric along the hemline, and now all I have to do is double fold it and finish the hemlines, and the dress is done. So this is the before and this is the after. This dress is going to fit 8 to 10 years old. This is what the dress looks like on my daughter. She is so adorable. So anyway, thanks so much for watching and I hope you learned something today. If you enjoyed this tutorial, be sure to give this a thumbs up and that will help my channel grow. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, don't forget to hit subscribe. And yes, check out my other sewing tutorials right here on the playlist. See you in the next one, my darlings. Bye!